Hello everyone, welcome back to Vita, where we explore the world of data and its impact on improving our lives and decision making. I'm Mari and this is episode 4 of our series, Unlocking Data Insights for Beginners. In our previous episode, we learned the basics of transforming and preparing our data using Power Query. We explored how to clean and shape raw data to make it analysis ready. Today we are taking the next step, data modeling in Power BI. In this episode, we dive into the essentials of building a data model in Power BI. We will cover the fundamentals of creating relationships, understanding keys, and setting up an efficient data model for analysis. Whenever you are new Power BI or just getting started with data modeling, this episode will guide you throughout everything you need to know to structure your data for insightful analysis. Before we get started, let's quick look what we'll covering in this episode. We will focus on 6 main sections. Introduction to data modeling, where we will discuss the concepts of data modeling and why it's crucial in Power BI. Primary and foreign key. Learn the role of primary and foreign keys in building relationships between tables. Understanding relationships, how to create and manage relationships between tables in Power BI to link your data together. And data modeling diagram view, where we explore the diagram view, which provides a visual representation of your data model. And best practice in data modeling, discover key tips for building efficient and scalable data models. And finally, hands-on practice, we will apply what we have learned by building our first data model in Power BI. Let's start about what is data modeling in Power BI. Data modeling is the process of designing and organize data structure to enable meaningful analysis. In Power BI, the data model helps us build relationships between tables, defines data integrity, and prepare data for visualization. A good data model ensures that data can be easily understood, correctly linked, and accurately analyzed, improving report performance and data accuracy. Key components of data modeling is tables, relationships, keys, and cardinality. Tables are containers for data that represent entities, for example, customer tables, order tables, and so on. Relationship, which link tables together using relationships, creating connections that allow data to flow smoothly across the model. We have primary and foreign keys, which is essential for data modeling and that links the tables. And cardinality defines how tables relate to each other. For example, one-to-many, many-to-many, or one-to-one. Let's talk about primary and foreign keys and next talk about cardinality. Primary keys and foreign keys are essentials in building relationships between tables. Primary key is unique identifier in a table for each record. It ensures that each record or each row in data is distinct. For example, in customer type, customer ID is distinct. Foreign key is a column in one table that linked to the primary key in another table. This creates a relationship between the two tables. Why are keys important? They ensure that relationships between tables are meaningful. They help maintain data integrity and consistently, and they allow us to link related data across multiple tables, such as connecting customer records to transaction data. Role of keys is primary keys uniquely identify records, and foreign keys connect related tables. Let's talk about cardinality and relationships in Power BI. Creating relationships in Power BI allows us to combine data for multiple tables and analyze it as undefined datasets. We have 3 main types of relationships: one-to-one relationships, one-to-many relationships, and many-to-many relationships. One-to-one relationships, each record is one tape is linked to exactly one record in another tapes. It is useful. When we need to connect one record to another one record. We have one-to-many relationships. A record in one table is linked to multiple records in another tape. It's most common relationship types, and it's used like customer tapes and order tapes to connect one relationship to one customer to which record this customer has. And many-to-many relationships, both tapes contain multiple matching records, and each use less frequency but important in some scenarios. Let's talk about impacts on data analysis of these relationships. One-to-one relationships useful for breaking down complex tapes into smallest. Focus on tapes, improving performance and clarity. One-to-many relationships enable details and aggregating analysis by linking master records for transactional data. And many relationships require advanced techniques, as I said, it's less frequency use, and it says such as bridge tapes or composite case to ensure accuracy analysis and avoid duplication. Let's consider examples of these relationships. For example, there is one-to-one relationships where applicant has roles. For example, me, Mari, my role is data analyst, and Mari is here only one time and her only one time. One-to-many relationship, for example, companies and contracts. For example, in my company, Vita, I have contracts to other companies, and I have so many contracts, so I need one-to-many relationships. And many-to-many relationships, which is less frequency used, deals and companies. For example, I have so many deals and I have so many companies, and there's so many keys, and there's many keys, and here is many-to-many relationships. Let's talk about data model diagram view. Model view overview, the usual interface in Power BI for creating and managing relationships. Building and organize, drag and drop functionality, organizing, managing relationships. It demonstrates how to drag tables and fields to connect relationships. It organizes tables. Each view for clarity, grouping similar tables together, and managing relationships. If we double click here in Power BI, we have edit settings where we can settings like cardinality, like we have one-to-many cardinality, and for example filter direction, like this arrow shows that calendar tab is filters sales tabs. Now let's talk about best practice in data modeling and next hands-on practice. We need to organize by functionalities, group tapes by functionalities. For example, sales inventory tape to make model more readable. Avoid curriculum dependencies. Ensure that tapes don't reference each other in loops, which can create calculations errors. Use descriptive names. Rename tapes and fields to be meaningful and understandable for users. For example, we need to write it is customer tapes. No, we need to write other names. If I am user Power BI and see this is customer tapes, I know that this is already customer tapes. And consider cardinality. Set cardinality correctly to ensure accuracy relationships and avoid performance issues. And minimize unnecessary columns. Only brings in data needed for analysis to optimize performance. Also, I want to talk about one important part which is not in presentation, but I want to talk about. This is fact and dimension tapes. In our last examples, where we have customers and order tapes, our customer tape is dimension tapes. Each defines one customer information. For example, in customer tapes, there is columns, a customer name, location, and ID. My name is Mari, my location is Tbilisi, and my ID, for example, is 80. 80. For this is dimension types because this talks about my information. But we have also fact table where we have so many foreign keys. We have foreign keys which to connect to customer ID primary keys, and order types is fact tables, and there my ID is repeatable and it's duplicate or 3 or 4 times. That depends on how many orders I have. So we have two main tables types. This is dimension types and fact types, and we need, first of all, when we start working on hands-on practice, we need to know which types we will working on, fact or dimension types. And I want to get you a quick tips. Every dimension types have one relationship and fact types many relationship. So many cardinality. So customer type where I am have one too many relationship to order types. And now it's time to put our learning into practice. In the hands-on session, we will build a simple data model for scratch, linking multiple types with relationships and exploring the data using Power BI. Now let's hands-on practice and practice how we can build that. Let's build our first data model. We have 3 main tables: customer, transaction, and salesperson table. In customer table, we have customer ID, which is primary key, and its ID is unique. We have customer name, email, phone number, and city. In transaction table, we have transaction ID, which is unique here and which is primary key for transaction table. We have customer ID, which is foreign key and which will be connected to customer table primary key here. And in transaction table, we have salesperson ID, amount, and transaction date. Salesperson ID here is foreign key, and we have also salesperson table where salesperson ID is primary key, and we can connect transaction table salesperson ID here, salesperson table salesperson ID, and we get information about salesperson name and region. Let's open Power BI and start working. First of all, click Get Data and Excel workbook and select Data Modeling table, which I have. Next, select these 3 tables and click Transform Data. We need to check everything is correct in Power Query. Here we see that column 1, column 2, and so on, and we need to use our first row as header, and if we click here, we can use that. We have salesperson tab, there is same error too, and we can use first row as header. Then in transaction tab, we have not this error. Now let's get to customer tab, and as we talked in last section, my work practice is to always write first part is this table dimension or fact tables. Customer table is dimension table, and I write this here. In salesperson tables, we have also dimension table, and click here. And transaction table is fact table. It has many customer ID and salesperson and main transactions, so this is fact tables. And click here. Also write ensure that everything is correct and every data type is correct. For example, customer ID is text, this text, and text. Everything is correct. Everything is correct, and in fact table, customer ID is text, amount is decimal number, and transaction date is date. And let's start in working Power BI in data model diagram view. Here is our tables and here is our model view. If we go here, first of all, Power BI automate make relationships, but we can delete these relationships and make it our way. I always put fact tables down and dim tables up. I don't know why, but I like work like that. In salesperson tabs, we have salesperson ID, and we know that salesperson ID needs to connect fact transaction tabs. As diagram view has drag and drop functionality, we can get this and click here. Here we have we can select cardinality and filter direction and make these relationships active. Salesperson ID is connected to salesperson ID. This is one to many relationship and filter direction is single. So salesperson is filter one to many relationship and direction is from dim salesperson tab to fact transaction tabs. We need to make same for dim customer tabs, get customer ID and click here and customer tab to customer ID, and this is also one to many relationship and direction is single. And this is our first data model in Power BI. Additionally, I highly recommend the SQLB data modeling for anyone who looking for strengthens their knowledge of Power BI and data modeling. Their insights are invaluable for mastering data practice in the field. Thank you for joining me in exploring data modeling in Power BI. Don't forget to click subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when the next episode drops. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or need further assistance. Have a great day and happy modeling.